Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here, and in today's discussion, we're going to talk about what was going on at training camp today, the first official day of training camp on the ice for the Edmonton Oilers. The coaches had the team split into two separate groups, and these two groups are likely going to be the ones that are playing in the split squad matchup against Calgary on Sunday. So I wanted to take a look at some of the players and some of the pairings that we are getting from the coaching staff with some of these lines. And hockey's about to begin, folks, and this is very exciting. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash that like button. And if you don't like today's video, but you like seeing Kitty on the screen, right? We got the kitty cam here. You can also hit the like button for Kitty. I'm sure he would appreciate that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed as we continue to climb our way to 8,000 subscribers. And I know and cannot wait for the fact that we are going to hit 10,000 subs sometime this season. So we are right on the way here, folks. But before all of that, we've got some hockey to talk about, and more specifically, we've got some Edmonton Oilers to talk about. Let's jump right into the main camp roster discussion. We're going to take a look at Group 1 first, and then I'll talk about Group 2. I'll give my thoughts kind of on each side, who I think has a chance, who I think is on the outside looking in. These are very interesting lines, so let's break it down first with Group 1. On the top line, you have Tomasek with McDavid and Mangiapane. You have Henrique with RNH and Matthew Savoy. Jones with Philp and Lazar. Pitlick with Mariala and Griffith. And then Petrov with Gruby and Lewandowski and Stefan as an extra forward. On defense, Ekholm with Bouchard. Stillman with Stetcher. Lepinen with Regula. Oh my goodness. That's going to be another name that I'm going to have to figure out how to properly pronounce. And Carfagna and Akey with Skinner. And Pickard in the crease. So let's go back to that top line. Tomasek, McDavid, and Mangiapane. Now, Tomasek has come over from the Czech Republic this season, and this is a player that does not have NHL experience, but he is kind of an X factor. He could be someone that does make the team. Now, do I think that he is going to make the team next to Connor McDavid on his wing? Well, oh boy, I guess we'll have to find out. But Tomasek, he did put up very good production in the Czechia last season. And putting him next to McDavid is a very interesting early looking camp. I think they want to get a couple different types of looks, feels for different players, because we do know Zach Hyman is officially out until at least November. That was announced by the Stan Bowman or Chris Knobloch. One of the two said that Hyman likely won't be playing until early November. So McDavid's got to try and find a fit on his line now, because Hyman, that was a usual guy for him. So maybe Tomasek is a guy that they want to get a look. But the other player next to McDavid, this is kind of the obvious one, Andrew Mangiapane. I think we all expected Mangiapane to probably get a chance at minimum, at least a few looks in training camp. So look for Mangiapane, at least in whatever preseason games that McDavid is in. Look for Mangiapane to be given that opportunity, see how they feel, see, if they work well together, if they're putting the puck in the net, can they read off each other well? They both skate very, very good. Who wants the puck more and who's willing to dish it a little bit more? That'll be a very interesting duo to look at and keep an eye on in training camp. Now, it's the second line here that is also very intriguing to me. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins back at center, so he likely does not start the season next to Connor McDavid as his left wing. I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, they do want to play as a third-line center this season, and maybe sometimes second-line center if they are loading up McDavid and Draisaitl on the top line, because we do know Draisaitl plays on the second line on his own. For Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, though, he's centering Matthew Savoy and Adam Henrique. Of course, Adam Henrique's game has completely fallen off a cliff, so if you want to shelter him as a winger, I don't mind that at all. And for Matthew Savoy, you're giving him a chance to play with two very, very responsible defensive players, right? We know how good RNH and Henrique are in terms of their two-way game, their hockey IQ, and that could be a very good fit early in camp, just to instill those good habits in Matthew Savoy. That way, when Savoy probably does get let loose a little bit out of the cannon, and he does get an opportunity to play with McDavid or Draisaitl, Savoy will likely have that instilled in him that, okay, I've got to be very responsible away from the puck, because right now I am being put with two players who are very responsible away from the puck. So for Matthew Savoy, I do like that look personally, and let's see what he learns. Let's see what the kid learns from a couple of these vets that are on the team. Although it's really weird to call Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a vet, even though he is the longest serving tenured Oiler, and he is in his 30s now. My God, time flies. On the fourth line, you have Max Jones with Noah Philp and Curtis Lazar. This is a line that obviously all three of these players are going to be fighting for fourth line positioning once the season starts. So it makes sense you put these three together. Let's see how they work out. I am excited to watch Curtis Lazar, because if Curtis Lazar is on his game, I imagine he likely becomes the fourth line center for Edmonton at minimum. minimum, maybe fourth line wing, 13th forward, whatever you want to call it. Noah Philp, though, great opportunity for him to make the team out of camp. He is not waiver eligible this season. So if Noah Philp does not make this team out of camp, the team will have to put him on waivers to send him to Bakersfield. And I'm assuming there's probably some team out there that would like to pick him up off waivers. We saw what happened with Raf Lavoie last season, where we kept trying to put him on waivers. Teams kept trying to pick him up. And eventually, I think he ended up in the Vegas Golden Knights system. In any case, we'll see how Noah Philp does. And then Max Jones, I do think, is like on the complete outside looking in. I don't think Max Jones has much of a chance to make this team. However, we'll have to see, right? I like Max Jones because he can skate fast and he hits hard, but he's just too chaotic on the ice. I don't think Chris Knobloch is a big fan of this player, but we'll see what Max Jones brings. It's a new year, new slate. This is his first training camp with the Oilers, so we'll see how it goes. And then on that fourth line, you have Pitlick, Marjala, and Griffith. Now, Marjala, I think, is being given an opportunity here to, he's going to play with Griffith and Pitlick. And I think what they're trying to get a look at is Bakersfield lines, what those are going to look like. But for Marjala, because he's played in that center position, if he plays really well, right, whatever exhibition game he gets into first, and I imagine he's going to play against the Flames on Sunday, whether it's at home or on the road in the split squad, Marjala does have an opportunity, I think, to bump himself up and get different looks with different players. I think Marjala is a very interesting player to keep an eye on throughout camp, throughout the preseason games. So we'll see how Marjala does. But this, to me, right here, looks like they're just kind of taking a look at a Bakersfield line potentially. And then on the fifth line, the extra forwards, Petrov, Grube, and Lewandowski and Stefan. These are all players on the outside looking in. Stefan, 0.1% chance of making this team. Lewandowski would have to have the greatest camp in the world to make this team. Grube, I can't see him making the team. And Petrov, a once fairly highly touted prospect in oil country, just hasn't really been able to properly take that step as a pro. But we'll have to find out. This is why it's training camp. This is why they're going to play the games, the exhibition. This is why the coaching staff is going to be working with them. And then as fans, it's really easy for us to just kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy what we're watching. We have to really hope and pray, though, that some of these younger players are ready to take that next step, because this team does need an injection of youth, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the defensive side, we have Ekholm with Bouchard. Of course, that's going to be your top pair for 99% of this regular season. Stillman with Stetcher, Lepinen with Regula, and Carfagna with Akey. Not too many surprises there in terms of the partnership. Stillman is an outside-looking-in player. Regula, again, he's a player that in the depth chart among right-shot D-men, he's going to have to really show that he can play and that he will be ready to go. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Regula started the year in the AHL, but this is a player. He's big, he's mean, has a mean side. Like, he's not going to fight all the time, but he's big, he's mean, he's skilled, he can skate, and his defensive on-ice awareness is phenomenal. He is a true shutdown D-man. I highly recommend you go watch some Alec Regula highlights from when he played a couple years ago. He was phenomenal. And then in net, of course, Skinner and Pickard. Stuart Skinner, a lot of discourse surrounding the goaltending, of course. Stuart Skinner came into camp about 15, 20 pounds lighter than he was last year. He's looking skinnier. I saw someone on the hockey forums, hockey forum boards, post a thing about Stuart Skinnier. Stuart Skinnier is here, not Stuart Skinner. So we'll have to see how that plays out. For Group 2, you had Podkolzin with Draisaitl and Kapanen. Now, obviously, Podkolzin and Draisaitl, we all know that will likely be a pairing when the season starts. Draisaitl loves Podkolzin, and I think they really do want to keep playing Podkolzin in that top six with Leon. I think they work very well together. For Podkolzin, though, big thing for him, got to shoot that puck more, man. You got to start shooting the puck, and I want to see it. Whatever preseason game Podkolzin is in, I want him to be selfish and just rip the puck from everywhere. Draisaitl, he's going to find you, I promise. And then Kapanen rounds out that line with the other two. I don't think Kapanen is going to be in the top six, but they want to get a look at him there. They want to see what he has with his speed. They want to see if he's better away from the puck. They want to see if he has that drive to stay on the line with Leon. Next line, you have Janmark with Trent Frederick and Isaac Howard. Now this, again, just like with Savoy being paired next to Nugent Hopkins and Adam Henrique, who are two very responsible players, Ike Howard here being paired with Frederick and Janmark. Frederick, of course, is a responsible two-way player. He is decent defensively, and he's going to be played as a center, so Frederick has to have a good two-way game. Matthias Janmark is known as a defensive specialist forward. He is not going to put the puck in the net a lot. His job is to prevent the other team from gaining offensive offensive zone possession, clearing the puck on penalty kills, and using his speed to generate the puck in the other direction. So for Ike Howard, this is a chance for him to, again, you're learning from some of the veterans that have been around the league for a long time, and he's being paired with guys who understand how to play with and without the puck. Ike Howard is someone that for sure he really needs to hone in that game away from the puck. So keep an eye on Howard. I don't mind that look initially. We'll see how he does. On the third line, Pitlick with Hamblin and Hudson. So James Hamblin, of course, he's had some time with the Edmonton Oilers. I don't expect him to be an NHLer this season. You have Quinn Hudson, who was signed last year as a college free agent. We'll see how they do. I think Hudson will be given a couple opportunities to make this team. I think Hudson would have to have one of the greatest camps in Oiler history in order to find a way into the team, into that top 12 forward group. James Hamlin, of course, he's just another one of those real solid AHL guys. This could be one of your top lines for the Bakersfield Condors when the season starts. So that's an interesting line to look at. And then for the fourth line, you have Clattenburg with Szymanski and Järventie. Clattenburg, we all know his game. We talked about it extensively during the rookie showcase, how intense he is, how much he's willing to do whatever it takes to protect his teammates. Szymanski, of course, coming over from Germany, Josh Szymanski. I've had a few people ask me, can he make the NHL team this year? He's probably not a this year guy, but he is on the doorstep. I think he could be knocking in a year or two. Don't be surprised if he's a potential call-up option, depending how he plays in Bakersfield as well. And then Roby Järventie. This is the player that I think could be an X factor. I think could make this team. We'll see how he does. I know the initial opportunity here being played next to Clattenburg and Szymanski. Maybe it looks like they're just trying to put together a line for Bakersfield, but let's see how these guys play, right? We won't know what they look like until we start seeing some games together. And training camp, it's relatively short. It's really hard to find that chemistry early. If there's some chemistry early, and if Järventie can really start playing, doing his play driving on offense like we're accustomed to, at least we have been before he's been injured, Järventie, player to watch right there. Same with Clattenburg. We'll see if that heart and soul and grit and fighting anytime he gets the opportunity and big hits, we'll see if that translates into training camp success. Fourth line, Stonehouse, Caponi, and Lafreniere. Lafreniere is a player that did have a pretty good showcase against the Calgary Flames rookies. I imagine that he will not be in camp for very long. He will be sent back to Kamloops. The Kamloops Blazers of the WHL, but it is exciting to see Lafreniere get a little bit of action here, and it is nice to see a player that I didn't know very much of, even after the team drafted him, kind of show me and prove me a little bit why the team drafted him during the rookie showcase. On defense, you have Nurse with Wallman. Now, again, Stan Bowman did mention, or Chris Knobloch mentioned, that Wallman is okay playing on both sides, but Wallman wants to stay on whatever side that he is put on. So whether he started the year on the left side or the right side, wherever he starts, and it looks like he's going to start on the right side next to Darnell Nurse, that's where he wants to stay. So Nurse and Wallman, likely a long-term pair here. Let's see how they do together. Hopefully Nurse is going to be okay with that. The two left shot D-men here, and we need a good year out of Nurse defensively. We need to see what we saw last year after Nurse got hit in the head by Ryan Reeves. And for Darnell Nurse, of course, we can always bring up that contract. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. He's with the team. He's part of the leadership group. The team loves him. And he's an effective defenseman when he wants to be. We just need to see some consistency. I'm excited to see how Nurse and Wallman work together. On the second pair, Kulak with Emberson. Of course, Emberson will be fighting for that number 6 spot. Brett Kulak, he's in a contract year, so look for him to be a little bit more motivated to keep that offensive production that he had from last year. Then you have Deneen and Brown. Oh my goodness, not Josh Brown. No more Josh Brown. Get that guy out of here. And then Millman and Prokop, of course, are likely going to be sent to Bakersfield, but you never know. You never know. And then in question marks, I put Janssen, Day, Tompkins, because I didn't really hear anything about those 3 goaltenders today. I didn't know if they were on the ice with Group 2 or Group 1. The only thing I heard of was Skinner and Pickard on the ice. So we'll keep an eye on the Oilers goaltenders, obviously, because this is something that is going to be under a magnifying glass all season long, not just during training camp. So let me know your thoughts on what the early lines look like in training camp. Do you like Group 1? Do you like Group 2? What do you think are the optimal lines heading into preseason, and who should be playing with who? Who should Savoy be playing next to, and who should Ike Howard be playing next to? Because those are the 2 players that I think fans are going to have a lot of eyeballs on. So keep the conversation going in the comment section below. And as always, fight like a kid, Fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers. Tell someone that you love them. All right. Take care, Oil Country. We'll see you in the next one.